Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Halas. I'm a music writer,
And I'm Jim Love, and I'm a keynote and motivational speaker.
and this is episode, I should have looked at the number beforehand, 10 something
And
of
one
the
of something,
one
welcome
of
to
10
episode,
something.
yeah, where we keep official record books and we keep the receipts. It's episode
Yes,
10 something. That's great. I want to guess like 105.
I
That's
think
my
we're in that neighborhood. I think that
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
about right. We are
yeah.
we are the most unofficial official podcast about
That's
those sorts
great.
of things.
That's one
But
thing we
we talk
don't
about
do.
having.
I don't, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyways, I'm keeping messing up your intro. Go ahead, Alan. Go
We
for it.
talk about having a side hustle and a passion project on top of your 9 to 5, or in addition to, or just entrepreneurship in general. And Jim is wearing a nice Marquette hat. I
Yeah,
have a Marquette basketball hoop behind me.
yeah.
I was just at Marquette yesterday. It is getting
There
to
you
that point
go.
where we're starting to think about basketball season, even though we're
Yes.
recording in like August.
That's
But
right. And we all went to University of Wisconsin. So what a weird reason to be.
yeah,
I'm
right.
just
No,
kidding. Yes,
just
we are.
kidding. No.
We are ready. It is
Yes.
rolling. Yeah, basketball's coming. But before basketball comes, we have to interview some guests. So Alan,
Yes.
who
That's
do
a
we
good
got
point.
today? What's the story, man?
Today we are calling down to Florida to talk to Sarah Ashley, who is a Gen Z entrepreneur, which is going to be great for the two of us millennials here. It's going to be wonderful, as well as the owner at Portal Copy Co. and a copywriter as well. So Sarah, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me. And you guys both went to Wisconsin, you said? I went to Mississippi State actually, even though
Oh,
I
yeah.
live in Florida now. So we're kind of all over the world.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
that.
and Jim is from Chicago. I'm from
Oh,
Milwaukee. But
cool.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
I love
we're
Chicago.
both live in Milwaukee now, and we both went to
that's
Marquette.
right.
And then Sarah. Okay, so we've got kind of an East Coast Midwest thing happening here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, SEC represents too. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
excellent. Well, and
it's not
Sarah,
a
you
team
may
in our
be
conference that we could that we have to root
right.
against. It's not
Yeah,
like Central
yeah.
Florida, or
That's
Yeah.
are they?
right.
They're not
They
biggies.
used to
Anyway,
be.
whatever.
They used to be. Yes. I
Um,
don't think we've had anyone from Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So, Sarah, you might
Oh,
be
yay.
that person. Let's just, yeah,
Yay.
Alan,
The
even if I'm
first.
wrong, let's pretend like I'm right because, like, that sounds good.
yeah. Woo, we were right. First from Florida. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
What part of Florida are you in?
I'm in Melbourne, Florida. It's like if you're familiar with where Orlando is, just go directly to like the East Coast, and that's where Melbourne is. So kind of near Cocoa Beach. It's kind of like a popular tourist area.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
Excellent.
very cool.
yeah.
How close from the ocean?
Um, 10 minutes.
I
Like
am
Dang.
I can just
jealous.
pop on over right there.
Oh, my gosh. And here you are indoors on a podcast with us. So that's how
I
much
know. Well,
you
it's
want to
a
be here.
hundred degrees outside,
Oh, yeah,
literally.
that's
So it's
true.
like,
Oh,
Okay. Maybe
never
you're
mind.
better
Stay
off.
indoors. Stay
Yeah, don't
indoors.
go outside. Don't go outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
So owner at Portal Copy Company, but let's talk a little bit about your background. Growing up, were you somebody that was always entrepreneurial, somebody that always kind of had ideas on, hey, I can make money doing this?
Yeah. I've always been very entrepreneurial, even in high school, for as long as I can remember. I just always had that drive to just go make money,
Hmm.
honestly, and just do what I wanted to do, pursue my passions, and find a way to like mix my passions with making money at the same time.
Mm,
For sure.
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What were some of your first like money making things that you came up with, maybe high school or even as a kid? They like some schemes.
Schemes. Yeah,
Ooh.
it's a good way to put it. When you're a
Oh,
kid, it's always a
yeah.
scheme.
Uh-huh.
Actually, that's funny. Nobody's asked me this before, but when I was in high school or kind of like middle school-ish, whatever, I was trying to create like girls' hair bows, like hair clips,
Oh
because
yeah.
that was really popular in my school. Like girls would make like these cute little fashionable hair clips and then they'd sell them and like, make them at home. And I was trying to do that on Etsy. So I was like, how can I do this
Wow.
like beyond my school and like on Etsy? Didn't really work out, honestly, because I was a kid, probably like it's been like 12
You
years old or
tried.
something like that. But I
Right.
tried. Yeah, that was one of the first. It was
That's,
fun too. I had high hopes, but that was a good,
yeah,
first lesson in entrepreneurship.
that's
But
it. To
still,
build things
12
small.
years old. Yeah,
Yeah.
12 years old and on Etsy
Yeah.
at the time. Like, I mean, that is far beyond what I was doing at 12. I remember there were kids that would make like the little like braided wristbands or whatever, and they would
Oh
sell
yeah.
those. That was like a thing, but like you would sell them for like a quarter in your classroom or whatever. Like it was not a big exchange rate on those and probably losing money. Like But
I remember
That's great.
so I also have to assume then that, as a copywriter, English is probably your strong suit. Like I grew up writing and English was always like the easy one for me. Everything else, all the other classes were very hard. That's why I went into that field. But somebody that could knock out a paper probably, if you needed to in no time flat.
Yeah, and actually when I was in what do you call it, grade school, like up until like sixth grade or something like that, I
Mhm.
hated English. It was like my like I did not like it at all, and I was terrible at the grammar. And the turning point for me was maybe like seventh or eighth grade. I had a really amazing English teacher, like who heavily influenced me to this day. And he really like made me appreciate English and language and writing and helped me like understand it in a better way than anyone else.
Mhm.
And that's kind of when I started leaning more into writing, actually, was, around that time.
Sure.
That's
So
sweet.
yes and no to answer your question. But
Yeah. Have you ever
yeah,
told your that English teacher that like
I
the impact that they've had
should.
on you?
I
Just
think
curious.
I Yeah, I think I did a long time ago,
Mm.
like when I was graduating high school and everything. I know I did, but I should try to like reach out to that English teacher
Yeah,
again.
I think that's like so
Yeah.
cool when like especially for someone that has you follow like a thing that you're passionate about to like tell them. I think that like we talk about gratitude a lot on this show and it's underrated. And yeah, I'm glad you've already
Yeah.
done it. But yeah, it's like it's always a shout out to folks like you probably have had an impact you don't even realize it because people haven't told you. So it's just always interesting to me. But that's unique. I think that's all it takes is like one good mentor or one good teacher to set a way where you're like, okay, maybe I am good at this and I can do like this thing. Now, did you start like when you got to you said Mississippi State, right, for college?
Hmm.
So when you got there, did
Yes.
you like what program did you want to go into? Were you set on doing something in like writing ish or entrepreneur? What did you start in college
Um,
then?
so I actually started out as a computer science major.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I started out in computer science. I've always really, I love computers and,
Hmm.
gaming and all that good stuff. But yeah, I went in computer science. It got to the part where we were learning how to probably program and code using like I don't know if you guys are like know a lot about computers or programming or anything, but they teach you like Python as like a beginning coding language. And I was like, you know what? No.
Sure. I
That's
am
not
aware
it.
that that's a thing. I know that that's a
Yeah.
coding language. I don't know anything beyond that though. I
Yeah.
can
It's like the
copy and
most
paste some
basic
stuff and that's
one.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the most beginner basic coding language. But yeah, I was like, nope, I don't think this is for me. And did a lot of soul searching around it. And,
Mhm.
I was in that program for maybe a year or so. And then I decided to shift into business, actually. And that's what I
Hmm.
graduated with a bachelor's in business administration. And I focused in marketing and management.
Mm.
Um, but I made that shift into business because, like I mentioned, I've always been very entrepreneurial and just very like business oriented. So it just kind of made sense at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought I could set myself up for success after college, like pursuing like a freelancing path, which is what I eventually did,
Hmm.
by getting that knowledge, like in my degree, which looking back, I guess I was like, it was a good decision. I'm glad I did it, but I didn't necessarily need to do that to freelance and like, you know, have a business. So it
Sure.
was kind of an interesting path on how that how that happened. But
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Now I feel like the statute of limitations are up on this, so I have to know, getting a job, learning that you can make money from writing. Did you ever
Hmm.
get asked to write somebody's paper, or did you have to do a paper for somebody else? I feel like you can say that. I never did it personally, but as somebody that could write, and I used to proofread papers, never for money, but like,
Hmm.
did anyone ever ask?
They did, and I think I did.
You
I will
should.
be
I would
honest.
say
I
you
think I
can
did.
totally say. You should say that you did it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely did for money. A couple of times probably.
There
I
you
don't even
go.
remember who specifically or what or anything or at one
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
no,
I
no. We
know it
can
came
leave all
up.
the details out of
Yeah.
Yeah,
it.
we
We
don't
don't
need
need
no
to leave
details.
that
Yeah,
part.
we don't
Yeah.
tell anybody about it.
But was that you maybe like to tie that into your business? Was that maybe one of the first times that you realized that, hey, like I can write. I know that I have a passion for it, or you know, it's something that comes easily to you, and there's an opportunity to make money from that.
I think it definitely helped. Couldn't go
Hmm.
wrong. It helped. Actually, what like before that even, I don't know if you guys have heard of the platform called Fiverr.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you
Yep.
familiar with
Mhm.
that? Yeah, so I actually got started writing on Fiverr even before I went to college. It was like maybe my senior year of high school, going into freshman year of college when I joined Fiverr. And at first, Fiverr was really new then. Like there was like barely anyone on the platform, but you could offer writing services. And I was kind of figuring out at that point, that I enjoyed writing.
Hmm.
And I put up a gig to like maybe it was like writing a blog post or yeah, I think it was like writing a blog post. And that's when
Okay.
I started like actually first making money
Mhm.
writing because blogging was like such a huge thing back in like 2015, like
Yeah.
2016.
Huge.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I remember
And I had
that.
a blog myself too. So
Mhm.
um Fiverr was probably the first thing. And people probably, if I could guess, and I remember correctly, I think someone probably reached out to me through Fiverr to write their paper. Like that, and
Okay.
that's how
There you
that
go.
that probably happened too.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty amazing that somebody was using that platform at that point to be like, what if I just gave you 20 bucks or whatever it was,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Kudos to
To
them.
like write something like that's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
genius on their part to be like, hey, like why don't I just have a freelancer do it?
Yeah.
Hopefully that
Yeah, why
person is in
not?
business too, you know,
Yeah.
like who knows?
Yeah.
It sounds like you're somebody that adapts to new platforms pretty quickly, because you know maybe that's the computer science part of you that is like interested in getting into different stuff. Um,
Hmm.
when you were creating the, you know, that when you had that initial Fiverr freelance kind of gig, like how quick were you at realizing that you can turn things out pretty quickly? Because I'm assuming that that is like a big portion of doing those freelance gigs. I never did them, but to do like, hey, this needs to be done, you know, in a week or in 3 days or something like that. Did you have a lot of that early on?
Mm, yeah, that was kind of trial and error trying to figure that out too. And maybe I don't know if this answers your question too, but like it wasn't really until maybe like a couple of years ago that I really like kind of understood how much I could do within a certain amount of time in terms of
Mm,
writing and just like task-based things. Because in the past, maybe when I first started on Fiverr, I probably underestimated how long it would take me a lot of times. And I was just in that weird, like, phase where you're new at something and you're trying to figure it out, but you're trying and you're adapting. So it's definitely just trial and error
for
for a
sure.
while. Yeah.
And I had the in like my I would freelance videos for people. I would shoot
Oh,
videos for
cool.
clients. So Jim has heard the
Cool.
story of me getting put onto a an airport runway to do a like time lapse construction thing when I was in college, and like bringing my like '96 Oldsmobile to like an airport runway to get security clearance and all of this stuff. Where like when you take those early gigs, like I think a big thing is like just getting in over your head sometimes and not
Yeah.
knowing what
Yeah.
you're doing. Like I definitely showed up to that shoot with like a cheap handy cam that I had bought off of Craigslist or bought off of a friend or something like that. But I knew that it had time lapse mode, so I could shoot in that at the time. And now
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't even hire me at all. They would probably just hire some kid with a phone, you know, to
Yeah.
Like an
set this
iPhone
up
16.
and run.
It's all they
Yeah,
need,
set it up and
right?
run. And it would look way better than what the video that they
Mhm.
ended up getting looked like. So those guys never
Yeah.
hired me again, in case anybody was
Yeah.
wondering.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I can think of some situations like that. Like maybe it's a little bit different because everything I did was online, so I didn't actually have to go anywhere, like come anywhere with
Mhm.
any tools or whatever. But um, it was always really interesting trying to do new types of projects for the first time that I'd never done. Like
mhm.
I remember the first time someone asked me to write a press release. I was like, what is a press release?
Sure.
I was like, I'll learn how to do it, do a
Yeah.
little Google search, try to self-educate myself as I'm doing it. So different things like
Yeah.
that. If I could think of an example to relate. to your story. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
could think of.
That, and then someone
Um,
wrote a press release about you learning how to write a press release. So
yeah,
that
that'd
was
be
the next
crazy.
thing too.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's transition, Sarah, into like you opening up this company and really like having a passion for people telling stories. You know, what did you ever like a client that you worked with that really stuck out that's like, okay, this is the thing I really want to do? Or how does that transition happen for you?
Well, good question. And I wish I had a perfect answer for that, but it kind of just developed over time because I've
Hmm.
been I've been freelance writing, just writing for people for over like 6 years now.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
over like even through college, I was doing this, by the way, but over like the last 6 years, I've just been I've worked on so many different projects and so many different types of projects that kind of I've developed like a feel for what I really enjoy, and just a feel for like what brings me like purpose and soul and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what other people also need to like depending on what's going on in the world and just in business. Um, and storytelling has become one of my favorite ways to like communicate and write just because it offers that like potential for connection with people.
Hmm.
And probably along the way, I came to realize this through doing more creative works for people. So, for example, doing like brand scripts or doing like branded video scripts um, for people, um, and just really like, I guess at the core, just creative projects,
Hmm.
right? So, like,
Awesome.
very, very
Yeah.
creatively rich projects
Yeah.
for people.
I I appreciate like when you know a project's going to align with your values or get you excited. You know, can you tell right away? Or and maybe like for the contrary, can you be like, no, this is not going to do it for me? It's like, no, no way. Is that pretty evident
Yeah.
quickly?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really just
Hmm.
about the topic. Like there's
Hmm.
some topics that I don't care about at all. But
Yeah,
like
Hmm.
I know I can do it, but like I don't really like have that spark for it. But then there's
sure.
other things that I'm, super excited about. And those things that I'm really excited about are all just always very like creative first, like creative
Hmm.
driven. Uh for example, there was a recent website that I worked on that was for a nonprofit. And that felt good to write. It was exciting because it was different. And I don't do a lot of nonprofit work actually, so it was just exciting to work on something like that and tell the story of what they're trying um, to get people excited about.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's your ideal client? Like who's the you know, what's the personality that you work with the best, perhaps?
Um, Practical dreamers, which
Ooh,
sounds maybe like a, a
I
bit
like that.
oxymoron, but
No,
Yeah.
that's a great answer for that too,
Yeah.
because that's so
yeah,
many people that have businesses, people that
Mhm.
think big but maybe don't know how to execute those sorts of things. So practical dreamers. Elaborate on that a little
yeah,
bit.
creative people, people who can think creatively, but also have that like internal drive to like get things done, or
Mhm.
um people who know they have to also like put in the effort to get things done, but they're not afraid to like take risks, especially on like the creative side of things.
Yeah,
In a nutshell, that's kind of it.
I
Jim,
um
we're
love
gonna
that.
rename this podcast. We're gonna rename it as Practical
Dude,
Dreamers,
I
I
think
think.
that's a great name. I think that's a
trademark. I'm
yeah,
Yeah,
kidding.
that's
yeah.
right. We're stealing it. No, it's
I'm
so like
kidding.
Stealing it while we
well,
can. No.
it's
I'm
funny
joking.
because Sarah, those two words, we all like knew exactly what you meant when you said that. Like that's a very like you've reflected on that. That's a very like practical way to
Yeah.
describe. You know, that's practical. Yeah, don't mind me using the word again, but I think that's cool. And you know, we talked about before. And I'm a speaker, as you heard, and like I have an audience persona that I speak to that is best for
Hmm.
me, and it took a long time to get there, but I know exactly who that is and can describe them. Like I think that's great because that shows that you know who you should work with and you know where you're best served at. And some people that don't have that get put maybe too much of a net out to everyone and won't pull in the people that work the best for them or they're gonna promote in the best way. So I think that's really critical and
Yeah.
probably makes you a lot more relatable these people that you work with because you're like off the bat, yeah, we're gonna
I
be
hope
good
so.
together.
That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
hope
great.
so.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about building a brand too, because
Mm,
that's the sort of thing. I'm guessing you're a solo entrepreneur, right?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
it's the sort of thing where you could put that out under your own name, but then deciding to create a company and then create content around that company too on social media and things like that to kind of help attract new people. So, what has been like the biggest motivation for you in building a brand separate from maybe your name to say, hey, I want to have this as my own separate company? Is it just like maybe because there's opportunity there to have a different name, or what would be the purpose behind, having a brand for you?
Yeah. I think saying the opportunity, like what you just said about opportunity is accurate. Um, when I decided to create Portal Copy Code and sort of separate that from myself a little bit, I really went back and forth on that for a long time, actually. I was like, should I do
Hmm.
that? Should I not? Should I just be, brand as myself and everything under one bucket, which I guess I'd do that without realizing it. But I decided to create Portal Copy Co. to just have a house, I guess, where
Sure.
everything Portal Copy Co. writing business related could live under like that house. And hopefully it would make it easier for people to, well, number one, find me and like know
Hmm.
what I do, and like I could better serve people that way,
Hmm.
I felt
Hmm.
like, if that makes sense at all. And I decided to create Portal Copy Code because I didn't want myself and my personal brand to be all about writing and copywriting and business and marketing, because I'm like a multi-passionate person. I have a lot of different interests and things. So I felt it was best to just create the brand and the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also like legalities, and just there's a lot of, it's a LLC, so like a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole
makes
aspect of it
sense.
too.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it. I know what you mean. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's a pretty significant decision to make. Right off the bat, it's like, who are people going to see me as? And it takes a lot of work
Yeah.
to get there. But when you have something you're comfortable and confident with, and you can really work on building it up, and then people start seeing you synonymous with the message that you're putting out there. That's what's great about a brand. And did you ever like? Has there been a moment with your brand that you're like, okay, that was the right choice, or like anything like that that's been validating in your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Good. I don't know, honestly. I feel like I'm just kind of going with it. I don't think too much about that, I guess.
Sure.
I just
Yeah.
know, yeah, I think it was just the right decision at the time, and I'm like sticking by it. And I think I've yet to see like its full and complete potential, but I know it's like on the rise and going up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I haven't thought about that. I'm gonna have to ponder about that question now. Like
For
think
sure.
about it.
I'll go for
But
it.
yeah.
Well, thinking aspirationally
Yeah.
too, we talk a lot about where people are taking things, where people want to eventually get to. Do you see this as something that you want to branch out and like bring people in underneath underneath the name portal, or possibly, just continue to grow? Like, what is kind of the lofty goal for you for Portal Copy Co?
Yeah. I think if I want to grow it and like really expand like how much I can serve people, I think it's
Hmm.
inevitable that I would bring in like a couple of people. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'll know it when it's here, and whenever the time is
When it's
right.
time? Yeah.
Yeah, when the
That's
time is
right.
right. Definitely don't want to like overshoot things or undershoot things. So I just really need to have like a pulse on what's happening. And like how I can like best serve other people, if that makes
Yeah.
For
sense.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
What's
sure.
been your favorite project thus far that you've done? One that really sticks out as like that was awesome for you, or maybe the end product you're just really proud of. What's been one of those that sticks out in your head?
There's a few actually.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe one of the earliest ones I did was a brand pitch deck for a wine subscription company.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was super fun, creative, and I got to be just really like elaborate and creative, and it was just a really fun experience.
Hmm.
And it was
Hmm.
also the first time I had ever done that, so I did not know what I was doing. So that's going back to
Even
that question you
better.
asked earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no idea. I'd never done that before. I was literally Googling what is a pitch deck? Like what is it?
Yes.
But it turned out really good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was working with the like creative director of that company. So I felt like at the time I felt like I was doing something, I felt like I
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
like
That,
I was in my groove. And then maybe um on a more personal note
Mhm.
too. So I'm also a poet. I write poetry, and like if people want like poems commissioned, like I do that as well. It's not something I heavily advertise, but like I really enjoy it. And there was one individual who came to me and wanted to commission a poem in remembrance of their parents.
Oh, that's
Oh,
And
sweet.
that's
and
really
it was
cool.
like so it's like that was probably the most like meaningful, like
Yeah,
personal project I've ever worked on. Um
that's awesome.
and yeah, and hearing like their feedback after it was done and how they planned to use the poem, it was just
Hmm.
I don't know if anything can ever top that, honestly. It was just
Yeah,
super
I love
meaningful,
it. I
but
love it. You know,
I would
I
be
yeah.
do
so
want to acknowledge
nervous.
that. Yeah, that would be. I mean, you got to get that
I
right,
would be
right?
so nervous that like, what if it was like, you
That,
didn't include that thing you said to me in third grade.
yeah,
You don't even
right, right.
know.
You
Yeah.
know,
They
the
told me
one
what they
thing.
wanted to include, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. You mentioned like Googling the pitch deck, Googling the press release. Like I think it's important lesson to take away is that you don't have to know everything. Like we have enough information at our fingertips to figure this shit out. You know, like I mean that's
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
if you are passionate about a thing, you'll figure out what belongs in it. But like use the internet as your friend. Like don't be afraid to go out there. Like that had to be a little bit nerve-wracking, but you did it and it worked out well, and that was your client. And
Yeah.
I think that's like so critical and an important one that we don't really think about that often because we just oftentimes you feel like you should be an expert in your field and like you are, but you're not going to know everything. Like it's okay
Hmm.
Yeah.
to go and figure out something and ask the world what that thing is and then act as a result of it. So I love that. I think that's a really good takeaway.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask about the elephant in the room real quick before we kind of wrap things up here. I'm
Uh,
sure I'm sure you've dealt with people saying, "Well, what if I just put it into Chat GPT and do it?" And like as
Mm.
somebody
hmm
that works, a lot of writing, and as totally am in like an AI advocate, but like understand the value of like a human input as well into things, right? What is
hmm
the response that you've had so far when people, I'm sure somebody has been like, why don't I just put it into ChatGPT? Why would I hire a copywriter? What has been
Yeah.
your kind of thoughts on it so far?
Yeah, 100%. I've actually had someone come to me saying, I put it in ChatGPT, this is what it gave me, but I just don't know if it works. Can you help me fix it?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
that's kind of a response that I've been getting.
Yeah.
But also I love AI too. Like I love using tools to like help me in all different facets of life and business. So yeah, I think it's a good, I've been having this conversation a lot too, which is funny that you asked, but it is a hot topic in the
Oh
world.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I love using it for brainstorming, it's like
Hmm.
jump starting an idea and just
Yeah.
like general like checking my thoughts and like getting
Hmm.
ideas too. So I do think it's a great tool to use when you pair it with a human, with like someone's like human ingenuity and creativity. Uh,
Hmm.
and if and if you can't put the rabbit back in the hat, so to speak, when the rabbit is AI, and like I don't think it's
Right.
honestly going anywhere, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
So how can I learn how to use it in the best ways possible
Right.
to like not hold myself back, but also stay true to like the creative work that I'm doing?
Hmm.
For
If that
sure.
makes
Hmm.
And
sense. I'm
I
trying to
am
balance
very
my thoughts there.
no, for sure. I'm very much the same way. When it first came along, I was like, oh, great, it's going to write articles for me. And then I would
Yeah.
read an article and then I'd be like, all right, well, that was pretty good. And then it'd send it another one and it would make an article. And I'd be like, well, that's good, but it looks just like that other one. And then you'd tweak it a little
Yeah.
bit, you tweak the prompt and you'd be like, well, okay, that third one looks like it, but it doesn't sound like what I would say here. And like
Yeah.
eventually, like, so I totally, I kind of, I guess, worked backwards in the sense of like, it wrote an article for me, but then I would be like, okay, well, how do I make this sound like me again? And the ultimate
Mhm.
answer is I was
Yeah.
ending up doing more work to make it sound like me than I was in just, creating
Mhm.
it myself, right? Like, so
hmm
eventually I just kind of landed on like, if it's something that you want to write that's creative and passionate, like, or, has a personal touch and your voice to it, like you can just do that,
Yeah.
just write it
Yeah.
yourself, right?
That's totally valid. Yeah.
So, in the
Awesome.
Yeah.
meantime, if people want to come and connect with Portal Copy Co., if they have something that they want, maybe they want poems commissioned, or maybe they want something else creative that you do, where is the best place to go ahead and find you online?
Yeah. You can find me. I'm on pretty much every social media at Portal Copy Co. Or you can also connect with me personally at Sarah E. Ashley. And I have a website, copyco.com. Yeah, social media is always great.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. And in speaking of social media, we are the Hustling Sideways podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We are also on all of the social media as well as Hustling Sideways, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places as well. So, Sarah, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. We
Yeah.
appreciate you taking time out from your busy schedule. And if you want to be a guest on the Hustling Sideways podcast, it's simple. You can send us an email. It is hustlingsideways@gmail.com. And Jim,
Keep on hustling.
we will see you next week.
Peace.